All right, there we go. Man, y'all looking good, right? Welcome to the Mañana No Mas morning check-in. Today is July 27th, 2020. And man, this weekend I just took it easy. I hope that you guys did too. I put up a post even on, I think it was Friday at 5 o'clock. I said, hey, it's Friday at 5 o'clock. Uh, you know, take a moment, invest in yourself, your calmness, your energy, whatever that is. You got to figure out what that means for you. So um, this week, man, so many things going on. All right. Um, I work with a group called Resonate. It's a young adults group. It's sponsored by Olive Branch Community Church. And we're super stoked because this week we're going to have some guest speakers for that. And so, when people are going to come in and talk about their missions work and stuff like that. And so I'm looking forward to that. Another thing, we've got people jumping into the Mañana No Mas Academy. It's been months and months and months and months of me putting out this message that, like, hey, I've got free courses, I've got personal development courses, I've got paid courses, I've got things on goal setting, leadership, business growth. I mean, I've got course study, and months and months and months of putting out this message. Finally, we've got people, jumping in and sampling the content that's there. So I'm super stoked about that. Welcome to our new members and students in there, and it's super cool to see that property is getting used. Um, you know, as a web developer, you see a need, you fill a need, right? Boom. But it's not a build it and they will come situation, right? It's like you build it and then you got to convince everybody, hey, this is kind of cool. And then they start to show up, and things start to move and things start to happen. Another channel that I put out that is finally starting to get some traffic is the podshowexchange.com. Podshowexchange.com. When I started the Mañana No Mas podcast, I love doing it, and I love sharing information and things that I thought were value added, statements and contents with folks. But what I found was getting guests, qualified guests, to be on the show was a difficult proposition. And so the Mañana No Mas podcast, had a lot of solo episodes and then a guest, and then some solo episodes and then a guest. And I said, man, if there was a source where pod show creators and pod show contributors could come together, and collaborate on things together, I thought that would be a phenomenal tool. And so I created Pod Show Exchange for that purpose. And so it's set up as like a group, it's set up as a collaboration group site, right? So there's a group where contributors can market themselves to creators. There's a group where creators can market themselves to contributors, and then there's a group where creators can collaborate with other creators. This works, this doesn't work, that, I like this microphone, I don't like this camera, things like that. And so there's opportunity there for people to begin to use that as a community. And I just built it. And for right now, early adopters are free. Jump in, and if you're an early adopter and you jump in free, you stay free, right? And then later on down the road, when this thing monetizes, you're locked in, which is a pretty cool deal. So that is pumping and pushing along. Another thing, the Andrew Eggleton podcast. Andrew Eggleton is um, he's a phenomenal presenter. He's a really good, emotional, hits the heartstrings communicator. And he was gracious enough to spend some time with me on a podcast last week. We put that out, we published it. He's got a pretty decent following. I've got a decent following, and together, there's been an audience kind of drawn to that, and I've seen it shared in a couple of places. Podcasts are interesting because they're hosted on so many different channels, and there's audio, there's video. I have it in my website. I have it on, Facebook properties, YouTube, Twitter, right? So this thing goes everywhere, and it's hosted on multiple platforms. And so you don't really know what your audience is with a podcast per se, but I've seen this one getting shared in a few places, and it's doing my heart good. This is one of the best interviews that I've been able to do so far. I think the edit came out really well. The sounds is good. He had a new computer, and he sounded really good on it. Obviously, I'm using a microphone, so my vocals were okay. And as far as overall message and then podcast quality goes, I was really happy with the way the podcast turned out. So if you get a chance, go to the Mañana No Mas podcast. Check out the latest one with Andrew Eggleton. It'll say, a Mañana No Mas interview, Andrew Eggleton, and a phenomenal deal. And the thing with Andrew is, yes, he is a world class presenter, but he doesn't come off like this pompous, arrogant jerk, right? He's very personable, and I felt like him and I could just have a conversation, and at the end of that conversation, it's the value add for you, the audience, and that is, that's win, 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 right? That is just fantastic. So there's a lot going on there. The other thing, I've been talking about adding content to the Mañana No Mas Academy, and that is in fact happening. Man, I'm thrilled to see that we're putting up new courses and we're expanding the content. I've talked to other professional course builders, and sometimes these guys will have, one course or two course, or maybe a trifecta, right? They'll have three courses that they focus on or that they really drive home the message on. And I'll be honest with you, that's not the strategy that I went with Mañana No Mas. So for those that aren't familiar with me, the person, they might think, oh, this guy's all over the place. And that's not true. Lost a ton of weight, and I enjoy a fitness lifestyle now. And I saw that through gaining fitness physically, I was able to perform better fiscally. I was able to save my company money. I was able to create more revenue. I was able to endure better relationships. There's so many things that physical fitness lent itself to in the fiscal community. And so I've been pushing this physical fitness to fiscal fitness message, more than a year. I've just been really hounding on this, but I'm still into everything with two wheels, right? Bicycles, motorcycles, ATVs, yeah, marine, RV, kind of that whole segment of the market, right? So when you take a look at, recreational vehicles, UTVs, ATVs, marine, outboard motors, boats, all of that stuff. When you take a look at that, that's also my passion and where I have a lot of strength. I know how the service industry, what they call fixed operations, I know how the service industry works in those categories, and it's a sweet spot for me. I can teach these people how to increase, their customer satisfaction, reduce their employee turnover, and drive their business through parts and labor sales in a way that they haven't seen before, right? Through efficiencies, tricks with productivity, communication tools, and things like that, right? Something as simple as answering the phone properly is something that a lot of these people haven't had professional training in. So once a company invests in them, right, and gives them that professional training, they can bolster that up. So to see all this starting to come around and to see people using it, it's been really, really, really cool. And then on top of that, I'm actually wearing the shirt today, Lifter LMS. Chris Badgett at Lifter LMS, him and I have been having multiple conversations. Super, super nice guy, great product. I use the product, and I move forward with all of that. So I'm wearing the shirt today because I was just talking to someone else that uses Lifter LMS, and I've been helping coach them on getting their LMS up to speed. LMS is Learning Management System. And so when you take a look at the Mañana No Mas website, or if you take a look at, if you're a dealer and you've had access to Suzuki's Quick Start class, that Suzuki Quick Start class was all based in Lifter LMS. And so, being able to build things for, large companies, small companies, and to be able to meet their demands and their people's demand through an effective network is a really, really cool deal. So I encourage you, if you have questions about using a learning management system for your company, whether it's for HR, for onboarding clients, for onboarding employees, think about it. If you're running a bicycle store and you want all of the people in the store to understand, how the service department works, how to order parts, how to greet customers, you put all that into a website, boom, you onboard them, you tell them to take the online training, they check the boxes, they can come to work, they've completed their training. If you have a shoe store, if you have a restaurant and you're dealing with the new COVID crisis, right? All these different rules on COVID, you could put all those rules for COVID into your website, tell your people they have to take this before they come to their shift. You can go in, you can look at their account, you go boom, 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 boom. You've done all the modules, you've taken the quiz, you passed, welcome to work, right? Take their temperature, whatever's going on in your state. But there's lots of tools for using this type of web architecture. The other reason to use this web architecture is instead of saying I'm selling classes, let's say I'm selling artwork. Let's say I'm a painter and I've got paintings that are landscapes, architecture, flowers, animals, right? And then so instead of courses, I have categories of art. And then within those categories of art, let's say instead of animals, let's say I have dogs, cats, giraffes, and elephants, right? So those might be the courses inside, right? So then those courses break into sections, and those sections break into actual pieces of art. And so I could literally take a digital content and I can break it into those segments and start a file tree that works down. And then you can sell memberships or monetize those sections of digital work based on, gosh, I hope I'm not talking over you because I'm saying things in a weird way and it probably sounds goofy. But here's the deal: you can put your stuff online and you can partition it and protect it, and you can have people subscribe to or buy access to certain things, right? And so it isn't just for digital courses. You can do this to onboard employees. You can monetize for art. You can monetize for pictures. You can monetize for music. On and on and on the possibilities go. So if you've got questions about that kind of stuff, I encourage you to reach out to me. I've got a free webinar that's part of the Mañana No Mas Academy that you can, hit me up for. I'll send you the link to that and get you a free webinar on how to build a membership and learning site. And you know what? If you think, hey, I can do this on my own, great, 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 great. If you think to yourself, man, I could use a little bit of help on this, well, then hit the contact link at the top on mañananomas.com. We'll see what we can figure out for you. All right. Have yourselves a great, fantastic, wonderful day. Usually I jump on and I brag a little bit about the fitness. This weekend, I rode my mountain bike up Northridge. Shh, don't tell anybody. It's supposed to be closed. Uh, you would never believe it's closed because there's a ton of people going up and down this trail. But Saturday, I don't know what got into me. I rode up the trail. I'm usually in the back of my pack. I was at the front of my pack and I was going up, and I pulled over about 2/3 up the trail, and I waited and waited, and I stretched my back gets really sore. So I stretched my back out, and then I waited, and my buddies caught up, and I was like, well, that's kind of weird. I was further ahead than I thought I was. And then I followed them up to the top. And then when I checked my Strava at the end, I was the fastest up the hill that day. And that's never, I should be clear, that's never happened, right? It's just for the day. It's never happened. And I checked it again at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I was still the fastest going up the hill. And I said, that's never, ever, ever, ever happened. And then this other guy popped up. I think his name was Chris, popped up, and he had taken the #1 slot for being the fastest up the hill that day. Well, I'm totally cool with that. Here's the point. I've been struggling with my climbs, this whole season since breaking my collarbone, and it's still not healed right. I can still feel everything moving around in there. But I've been riding, I've been exercising, I've been putting in the work. I mean, I did the Northridge climb 3 times in 1 week because the first time I did it, I was so disappointed in my performance. I went back out 2 days later and then 2 or 3 days after that. Right. So it's concentrating on a goal and going after that. And so then this week, the proof is in the pudding. I was able to go right up that mountain. Right now, if I can get up without stopping to stretch out my back, if I can get to a fitness level where I can get that core strength back and I can get up the hill without having to stop, that'll be another level of goal setting for me, right? So you see how that works with the KPIs, key performance indicators. There's times that I think, oh man, I'm working too hard. I'm not getting the results I want. You can't make those decisions in the moment. You have to look at the data, right? Because when I thought that I was failing, I looked at the data and I was going faster than I had ever gone, right? And so I ended up with 9 PRs on Saturday. It was fantastic. And I love that. I love that there's something that I can do outside of work, outside of finance, right? Outside of growing my kingdom, where I can go out and I can challenge myself and I can have goals and I can work on my fitness. And like I said earlier, I personally believe the more fit I am physically, the more fit I can be fiscally. And so I hope that you follow along and you jump into the Mañana No Mas Academy, into the community, and you start to just drive along with this message of success, because I sure could use some company in here. And I know that we're driving there. We're getting there, right? And I can feel the momentum, and it's fantastic. So I hope that you have a great day. kick it, right? What's the catchphrase for Mañana No Mas? It's getting shit done yesterday, right? So let's go out and get some stuff done. All right. Have a good one. Bye bye.